XRP just hit a major milestone and the SEC may finally be backing off. With ETF momentum building and Ripple unlocking 500 million tokens, which we'll talk about, the path to a $5, $10 plus XRP is getting more clear by the day. So what's next? And before we go on, let me remind you, I am an XRP holder, just like most of you, and I do want to see it do well, but this is by no means financial advice. I'm just looking at the things that are going on out there and sharing it with you. So this is Joe from Joe Knows the Cryptos, bringing you clarity, trying to bring you clarity in a very unclear world, not hype, in the fast-moving world of digital assets. If you're watching XRP or the altcoin space closely, go ahead and do me a favor, smash that like button now and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's start off with Ripple's big move. So on July 2nd, Ripple unlocked 500 million XRP tokens. They split that into two tranches, 300 and 200. But here's the key. They locked 400 million right back into escrow. So this is part of Ripple's ongoing rebalancing strategy. They're releasing XRP for things like liquidity service, ODL, smart contracts, and ETFs, but they're also controlling supply to avoid dumping on the market. So now here's where it gets interesting. The SEC just approved Grayscale's digital large cap ETF. And that ETF includes, you guessed it, XRP. That approval is a huge regulatory signal. It certainly opens a door what could be a standalone XRP spot ETF sometimes in this quarter. Sometime in quarter 3, we could see the XRP spot ETF get approved. Now, that's my speculation. I could be completely wrong, but signs are pointing in that direction, certainly. So let's shift a little bit towards the legal cloud that XRP has, or Ripple should say, has been following Ripple for years. So Ripple last week, as you know, dropped their cross appeal in the SEC case. And they're expecting the SEC to do the same thing. So when that happens, we could certainly see some real price movement. You know, obviously that regulatory cloud lifts. I mean, it's all but over, I think, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And let's take a quick look at the charts here because I got to show you something else that I think, we'll get to that one next. You know, here we have that's a drawing one. We have XRP, and you know, we had a peak up here at 335, 340, and it's been downhill ever since. You know, with a lot of price jerks up and down, and then now we're really consolidating down. And as you can see, these things are forming up to have a nice breakout. Now we had this downward descending channel, and typically. When you have a downward descending channel like that, it breaks to the upside typically. Not always, you know, obviously things can happen. But when you see this, you know, it really does make me, think we're going back to the upside, and especially with all the ETF talk, the positive movement in the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, you know, XRP out there, Brad Garlinghouse setting up new deals, new acquisitions, all the time. So look, we did break out of this downward descending channel, but we have this more long-term that we bounced directly against. I mean, you can see right here, we got rejected there. Well, this downward descending channel has set up a nice floor of support. And as you can see, we're holding that floor of support. So, you know, another momentum to the upside, we could break through here, break through the 382 Fibonacci, possibly move up higher in the short to mid term. And this is what I'm looking for. We've been bouncing around. You know, obviously, there's been Bitget analysts that says XRP could reach $5 by the end of 2025. My personal price target for XRP is between $7 and $10. That's my guess, not financial advice. Please don't do anything on that. You can follow along to see if we actually hit that. But this is driven by institutional demand and favorable market momentum. You have to have that market momentum. Obviously, if World War III happens or, you know, regulation breaks down, who knows? But right now, we're going to be probably trending right around this area until we can have momentum to break to the upside. And even when it might hit this again, bounce here and go up, it could also go down if we have some negative sentiment. You know, maybe if the XRP ETF spot approval gets denied, you know, that could push us down and drive us down, you know, through another, you know, we have a long way to run down here. But I'm hoping for that positive momentum to get, you know, pushed back to the upside. And, this is when we could see a lot of our price targets hit. So right now, XRP is still trading between this, right here, what is that? Like 215, 216, 217, and, 230. And it's going to take a significant momentum push to get above there. But there's one other thing I'd like to show you is we're also setting up, it looks like a possible short squeeze. If you look at this right here, you have a lot of short leverage right here around the 235 mark, and that's really creating that resistance downward. Because, but if we do get near there, we could certainly see a short squeeze. The leverage is all here. If you're looking for all you whales out there and all you market manipulators, if you're looking for some liquidity, here it is. If you want to wreck some shorts, please, by all means. Now, I'm sorry if you're short XRP, but I'm long. So there's a lot of money. I mean, cumulatively, a couple $100 million in short leverage around here, around the 335 mark. So we could potentially be setting up for a short squeeze. But let's zoom out one more time. Looking at the medium-term setups looks very bullish. We have ETF tailwinds. We have more legal clarity on the way and a growing institutional interest that could easily push XRP upwards. I don't want to guess $3, $4, $5 by the end of the year, but I would love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it go to $7 to $10. That would be amazing. Is that possible? Well, just go back. Let's go back to let's take a quick look at the Fibonacci's. I have this set up between market high and then, this current market high, current market low. And, let's see, if we get the 4,509, that's a pretty big move. That's about $4.5 to go up to $10. I mean, you would be really at the 4.2 Fibonacci. Is that right? Yeah, 4.2 Fibonacci. I'm sorry, would put us around the $10 mark. The 2,618, 1,618 would put us around the 445 mark. So there's a potential to go in there, if a lot of these things happen, if the headwinds happen, if institutional adoption happen, if the ETF if it gets approved and widely accepted. There's a lot of things that could push XRP to the moon. Now, look, all this is speculative, and, I'm going to ask you very nicely to understand that this is just my opinion. So, is XRP finally about to run? Let me know your price target in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead of these moves, subscribe now, because this is Joe Knows the Cryptos, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. I will see you next time.